They were talking about the biggest challenge for digital products is not the tone. John, Tosin, and Devin explain what modelers don't do as well as amps yet. I think I have an understanding of what it might be, but let's read. John is saying, the biggest challenge for the digital products is not the tone, says Petrucci. It's not the things like gain and overdrive and stuff like that. It's how the amplifier physically pushes air through the speaker. It's the feel thing. It's all happening very randomly. Nothing happens the same. Abasi is labeling the chaos element that is missing when it comes to a modeler's output. If you're playing for an amplifier with a lot of distortion and you play a A chord and then you play that same A again, the way that it interacts with the amplifier components and comes out of the cabinet and the speaker is totally different, explains the truth. It's a totally different moment in time, but with the digital products, they can never randomize that. Again, that's always the missing piece to me, that randomness and the way that things are happening in physical space that you can't reproduce. So there you have it. Petrucci says that he increasingly believes the answer ultimately lies in focusing on impulse response developments and speaker room emulations, as evidenced by his recent Tone Mission IR launch. However, even that still has its limitations, as Townsend astutely notes. And I'd like to chime in on this and close the small little Guitar World ad at the same time. Also something that is not talked that much about in this. I mean, the truth is talking about feel right here, but something that I feel is very important and a lot of people are kind of not talking about is the response. You know, the actual impact of your playing. When you play straight into an amplifier, you get an instant analog response, which is like completely instant. When you plug into digital equipment, there's always the analog to digital conversion and then the digital to analog conversion again. So all of that, even though it's negligible, I've been practicing this word, people. You can still feel it. A lot of people will say, well, if it's 2 milliseconds or 3, you're not gonna notice it. Well, you're not gonna notice it when you sit and record something like this. When I'm standing here recording, I can't feel it. But as soon as I plug into a real amplifier, I can feel it because it's like, oh shit, I've been playing through this plugin for so long, or this audio interface and this quad cortex, that you plug into an amplifier again, it's like, holy shit, that instant reaction is definitely something I miss in these, in the digital modelers at this point. This is probably going to get better as processing powers get stronger and development of digital components and all that. We go further and further. That small little gap will just become smaller and smaller. So there's still a win with amplifiers, in my opinion. But a combo of both digital and analog is the way to go, in my opinion. Also, I don't know if you saw, but I had Rick Beato on my Coffee with Ola show last week. Huh? Last minute thing, I got Rick Beato to come over for a Coffee with Ola, and he's just as amazing of a person as you would imagine. It was a pure bliss having him over, and I was a little bit nervous because I feel that Rick Beato, in terms of musicianship, is up here somewhere, and I'm down here a little bit, and like, hey, hello up there. But great interview, great guy. I went to his show. It was a great show. He basically talked about his life. He also did a small section of what makes this song great, which I thought was incredibly interesting. He was doing Beatles because he can't do this on his channel. He immediately gets blocked. So he did Beatles. Not sure how okay that is to play other people's music at shows, but who cares, man? We're going to the John Petrucci guitar universe. And I'm like, holy shit. I got early access of this album. I've been listening to it a fair bit. And actually, both me and Luis have been listening to this. And some of the songs we already heard as singles.